Hey traders, welcome to the FXC YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to explain how to backtest using Tradingview. For any professional trader, they've been studying charts for many months and learned many trading concepts as well as many trading strategies. But after you've done all the studying, you've likely come up with the trading strategy you want to use. But first, you need to test and validate that it works. When I was learning, I used to test strategies hundreds of times over many months of historical data. And this is essential as you don't want to risk any money trading a strategy without knowing if it's likely to be profitable or not. Before I begin, let me state there are tools out there specifically with the purpose of backtesting strategies. An example is FX Replay, which has historical data since 2016 and has a trade input tool that not only allows you to create orders during your backtesting session, but also keeps track of your P&L. So at the end of the session, you can clearly see the statistics of your trading strategy as well as your P&L. I've used FX Replay in the past and I found it really useful. But for me, I don't often test new strategies, I refine existing strategies. And most of that can be done during my daily review or while forward testing. These dedicated backtesting tools can also be costly. If money's not a concern, then by all means, go for it. But for most people just getting into trading, they probably don't want to spend so much money. And I would recommend using Tradingview as it's likely already available to you for free. And you likely don't need that functionality until you become a little more advanced in your trading journey. Getting back on topic with Tradingview, there are several things that you need to be aware of. First, in order to backtest using the replay function, you need to have a paid subscription. If you're not subscribed, I wouldn't recommend subscribing just to have this replay function. From what I understand, you can sign up with a new account and you'll have the option for a free trial. I would suggest doing this free trial first in order to see the added functionality, and then you can decide whether or not it's worth paying for. Other limitations using Tradingview is that you have a limited amount of historical data, and this depends on the plan you're signed up for. In addition, demo orders, they can't be created within the tool. As such, you're not able to see your statistics within the tool as well as your P&L. For me, I focus on the risk to reward gains, so this can be easily calculated. So it's not really a concern for me. When I backtest, I'm primarily concerned with how many times the strategy is successful or not. I want to be sure that it's consistently profitable. Last, I'm going to assume there are hundreds of tutorials explaining how to backtest, but there are a few specific things that I do that I'm guessing nobody else does, and those are the things I want to focus on. So let's talk about backtesting now. So first things first, there's a few things that you need to prepare in advance. First of all, you want to start with a completely clean chart. No indicators, nothing. And then you want to go into your settings, and under events, you want to check economic events on chart. And then you want to make sure that only future events is not checked. And the reason for doing this is you want to have an idea of the events that are coming, because you're not going to know at that point in time whether there was an event or not. If you're trading in real time, then it's very likely that you're going to look at the calendar before the trading day and have in mind what's to come. But when you're backtesting, you're not going to know unless they're actually on your charts. The next thing you want to do is we want to add an indicator. So we want to add a kill zone indicator, and for the purpose of this demo, we will be using ICT kill zone boxes by Bryce WH. I've used this in the past, but it's not the one I'm currently using. The one I'm currently using is a custom one, very simple, exactly what I need to do and nothing more. But this is available for everyone, and it does exactly what we need it to do. And the reason why we want to have a kill zone indicator on the chart is, first of all, we want to know when we should be trading or not. And second, 15 minutes can go by really fast. I mean, a matter of seconds. and you can easily get lost in time. So we want those kill zone boxes to become available so we know when we should be trading or not, when we should be looking for trades. And the next thing we want to do after that, so the preparation is done, the next thing we want to do is we want to hide the indicators and we want to hide the chart data. And the reason why we do this is we don't want to go back in time and have the future data available. I mean, it makes no sense. It's like seeing the answers on a test before you start a test. So that's a specific reason why we're doing this. So it doesn't give the answers of which direction price is going to go before we start backtesting it. Okay, so moving on. The next thing we want to do is we want to select a specific date that we want to start our backtesting session. So normally what I do is I'll go back to a Monday of a certain week and I'll prepare the charts and thereafter do the backtesting for the entire week. So for the case of this demo, I'm going to go back 1 month in time. So that would be the end of September. So click on that and then we look at when that is. I don't know why it's not visible on the chart, but it's up here. So we're going to click the replay button and we are going to click on that specific time, which is actually the start of the trading day. 6 a.m. is Japan Standard Time. And we are going to turn on the candles and then we're going to turn back on the kill zone boxes. So now we can see the previous price action, but we can't see what's to come. So our mind isn't clouded by already seeing the price action in the future. It's completely invisible to us. So once we do this, we're going to prepare the charts. It's more or less doing a top-down when we start our backtesting session. So we go to the weekly first, have a look at the weekly just to get an idea of what's going on. So the big picture is we're bearish, so this is on a monthly time frame, and right now we're pulling back. We're currently bullish on the weekly time frame, but it looks like we just shifted bearish. Did we close? Not yet, but it looks like we're gonna shift bearish at this point. Oh yeah, this is, yeah, it's not so far back in the past, and if any of you saw any of my videos, you know we've had 11 consecutive bearish candles, so this is that bearish run. So unfortunately, due to that, we have a good idea of what's to come, but anyways, let's proceed anyways. So if we look at this, what do we see? There is a weekly fair value gap here, looks to have already been tested. And aside from that, I don't see anything else. Maybe a small little gap right there. Not sure if it's worth noting. And let's see what else. Nothing really on the weekly time frame. If we go on the daily time frame, so you can see we have fair value gap there that's currently open. We have a fair value gap here that's been tested. We have a fair value gap here that's been completely filled. Unfortunately, I know this price action, so I know what's to come. Eventually I want to see price come here, but for now it hasn't happened. But anyways, you can see here we had a nice sweep. So because of that, don't expect price to come back here. And we actually have the same thing here. Have a very nice sweep up here. So not expecting price to come back here anytime soon. But this daily fair value gap at one point or another, very likely to come back to. And aside from that, we don't really have so much more. We've already broke the lows. We haven't closed below it, but that's telling me we're very likely to continue down. Like I said, I know this price action, so I know it's going down. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, so 4-hour time frame, what you can see is we've already mitigated the fair value gap. So short term is very likely to go down rather than going up for a bigger pullback. There is still some inefficiency above, but looking how it's already done a shift here, I'm more inclined to say it's very likely to start coming down from here. 1-hour time frame, yeah, it's already starting to come down on the 1-hour time frame. So this is like the close of the previous week. Not really so much inefficiency. Maybe if it does fall over, and maybe we have a retest of maybe even from here of supply before dropping. Time frame is 1 hour. 1 hour time frame, so that's not my trading time frame. I would be looking at the 15-minute. So if we see lower pricing today, I'm guessing liquidity sweep here before price starts to come down. And what we really want to see is we've already done a shift. So this is the last low on the 15-minute time frame. We've already broke below that. So what do we expect now? We expect some sort of a pullback. Something else I would probably be looking for is potentially premium discount. We have this liquidity right in OTE. So I would be looking for price to break above this. We have lower time frame supply that hasn't been mitigated yet. Yeah. So that's a 15-minute supply up there and potential liquidity resting right below it. Yeah, so we've done the higher time frames. We have a good idea of which way price is going to go. We've reviewed the lower time frames for potential trades for today. So the way I see it right now is if we see the price come up, first of all, into the supply, second of all, breaking this resting liquidity, and potentially this resting liquidity and coming into the extreme, which would be my preference, probably around London Open. That is a trade I would potentially take. Anyways, let's run it through. Let's see what happens. I'm curious to see how this plays out. Just want to look on the hourly really quick before we start. We missed something. There's a fair value gap right there. So this is also a possible area of interest when the price plays out. Okay, anyways, let's see. So started with a nice push up. So this is opening candle. Pushing down, going back up. Japan's going to open soon. Okay, we came into that fair value gap. Okay, and then we're pushing away from it now and broke the range. So this is already shifting down after testing the fair value gap. We're nowhere near our trading time, but now I could see potentially this supply as a possible area of retest, or potentially a sweep of this coming into here. Before pushing down. And as you can see, we've already come back into 1 hour supply. So it may not need to come back up above here. So let's just see what happens. Okay, we are getting close to Frankfurt Open. So once again, another break to the downside. So more confirmation that this is coming down. Next candle is Frankfurt Open. So Frankfurt Open is probably going to do manipulation now. And you can see we've already have equal highs here. So liquidity resting here as well. So for me, this area of supply looks like a good one. But let's see if it can go above it as well. Oops, wrong button. So what time is it? 45 minutes, 30 minutes to London Open. Okay, so that's a huge manipulation. So came exactly into the area that I was thinking it would. So let's see if we can get a retest now, because the next candle is London Open. We could even do 10 pips and cover the high. Yeah. And normally I would just say stick with 2R, but in this case, this looks like such a clear target for price to go to. Anyways, let's see how this plays out. We did get a retest. Tapped into it. It's starting to come up. Let's see if it pushes higher or if it goes down as we're expecting. Okay, it's coming down. That's broke the low, broke the entire range with a lot of velocity, by the way. Broke this area now. So after breaking this, we're having a slight pullback. There's inefficiency above. So you can see it created a 15-minute fair value gap, filled it, and now coming down. Continuation, further continuation. Starting to stall at demand, getting a bigger pullback back into the fair value gap, pushing lower. There we go. Okay, so in this case, we have a 3.42 R. Trade. Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, if this is reality, I probably would have taken partials here and partials, a bigger partial here, and had a small bit left running because it could continue much further to the downside. At this point, the day is done for me. We're already in New York session. There's no reason to continue to look for further trades. So what I would do is I would fast forward, whoops, to the next day. So careful. Okay, so no, two more. Okay, so this is our New York open price. And then let me just run it a little more. I'll just run it till like an hour. Okay, so this is 30 minutes before Frankfurt Open. So let's have a quick look. What do we have on the left? So up here, everything's balanced. So if we get a pullback, the pullback would be somewhere in here. Hourly. We also have a refined hourly as well. So these two levels would be the area of interest for me. Would like to see price come into one of these levels, preferably the higher one, before reversing and going further to the downside. So let's go back to the 15-minute and see how this plays out. So hopefully price goes up from here. That's what we're wanting to see. Okay, so this is right here. This candle right here is Frankfurt Open. We're 30 minutes into Frankfurt Open, and it looks like we just broke the low. No, we haven't. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we just broke it. So this doesn't look so good. Looks like it just may melt from here. I mean, for me, completely honest, I would be surprised if it left it open. And that was the London Open candle. Okay, so we're starting to get a reaction. Doesn't look like we're going to get an entry. There's an open fair value gap. May come down for it to push higher into this fair value gap, but it's not a huge range to be even trading, so I wouldn't want to enter longs here. And if it's just a pullback, I mean not a pullback, if it's just a manipulation, I'm not expecting it to come back anyways. Yeah, it's pushing higher. So it's already into the 4-hour fair value gap. Let's see the reaction here. And I'm going to go down to the 5-minute. I feel a little more comfortable on the 5-minute because that's what I'm usually watching when I'm looking for entries. Nothing yet. High win again. Looks like a shift. No, equal lows. Okay, that's a shift. So we have a shift to the downside. Do we see anything clean above? We have some equal highs here. So we could watch the reaction above there, but I want to see what happens on the next candle. Okay, so I don't like this. I don't like this mainly because we haven't hit the hourly fair value gap. We just reacted off demand. I'm gonna let this one play out a little longer. If it does a second break, then I'll enter. But I just don't like the fact that it came off this demand and aggressively shot up like that. Okay, it's at the extreme now. Looks like maybe it'll hold in reverse. Okay, it's still at the extreme. It just broke. So yes, it's going higher now. So what's it gonna be targeting? This hourly fair value gap. So this is the area that I'm guessing it's going to go to, unless it comes way back here, but I think this is more likely than coming all the way back up here. But anyways, let's see how it plays out. And also, just to make a note, we've already come out of our trading session in London, so we don't have a setup, and we won't enter unless we get another one. Either New York or pre-New York would be the earliest. Okay, so is it gonna shift or continue? Okay, see. Okay, so this right here is the New York open candle. We've come into the fair value gap. Now what we want to see is if we get a shift from here, then we'll enter a short. Yeah, I like this one better because of the timing, because we're clearly in the New York session. We're looking for a shift. That was a very massive pullback. What's the 15-minute showing? Next candle? It's gone lower. I don't think it's going to come back. 15-minute fair value gap here. 5-minute, what is a 5-minute showing? Tiny fair value gap here, one in the middle and one at the bottom. Could come to this fair value gap, but if we want to get in the trade, the one we should be targeting is this one. The last open fair value gap is most likely to be hit. It may go higher, but it may not as well. So looking at the potential of this trade, this is a recent low, and this is our target. That's still a decent trade, even if we entered on this low. So 6046, and then covered the high. What are we talking about? We're talking about sorry, I screwed up. This one's a low. Okay, so even if we covered the top 11.7, and I would need to add 1 pip to it just to be safe, we would target this low. What are we looking at? Still 2.17 R. So if we get tapped into the trade and it hits our profit target, I mean, that's still good enough. 2R. I mean, not gonna cry about that. Could be much higher, but do we want 0 or do we want 2.17R? Because if we target higher and miss a trade, we're going to end up with 0. So it's safer just to get in here than miss the trade completely. Let's see what happens. It's coming down. It may not come back at all. This could be liquidity actually. This could be the liquidity building that it goes to sweep before coming back down. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, it's creating more liquidity. It's pushing down lower. Did a second break. This could be liquidity right here, or it may just retest this supply and then melt. It tapped in and came right back down. Wow. Ooh, nice push. Pull back. What are you gonna do? Okay, it looks like we're getting continuation now. More messy price action. Okay, now it broke the lows. Should start to continue now. Okay, what time is it? We're towards the end of New York kill zone. Let's see if we get that continuation before noon. What time is it? It's right before noon. Okay, so yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. So a second break and RTP hit, and that would be 2.17. Okay, so anyways, this is the end of New York AM session, and no need to continue to trade PM session. What I would do is continue and do the exact same thing the rest of the week. So fast forward to the next day before London session. If you guys aren't trading London session, then fast forward to New York session. There's no reason to even look at it if you're not trading it. But if you're only looking at London session, then end the day at London session. Once London's done, then skip to the next day. I mean, focus on your trading time. For me, I'm in Asia, so London Open is afternoon for me. New York is evening for me. I can trade both of them, no problem. And that's usually what I do. But if I get a nice trade in London and I've hit my TP, I mean, I'm usually off the charts. I mean, there's no reason for me to trade and risk losing money during New York session. I mean, I've already made money for the day. I should be done and, rest. So anyways, continue like this for the rest of the week. And then once you're done in the week, just do a summary. Do a summary. How many R did you make? How many R did you lose? And then you have a clear idea if your strategy is working or not. Okay guys, that more or less summarizes the way I backtest and make it as realistic as possible. So just to summarize really quickly the key points in this video. So first, you need to start with a clean chart. Next, add calendar events to the chart. 3, add a kill zone indicator. 4, hide the chart data before you go to the time you want to backtest, as well as the indicator. 5, go to the week you want to backtest. 6, do a top-down analysis before you do anything. 7, analysis prior to trading session. So once you get to the session that you're about to trade, stop the replay, do another analysis, see what's happened in Asia session. And then after that, look at the possible scenarios that you'd be looking for trading that session. 8. Fast forward to the next day once your trading session is done. There's no reason to sit there and watch the charts, do potential trades if in reality you're not trading those sessions. So just fast forward, go to the next day, to the next trading session that you normally trade, and then focus on that. Do your analysis and then do the back testing for the next session. 9. Continue until the end of the week. 10. Once you're done, summarize the results. So once you summarize, you have a clear idea how well your strategy is working or not, whether it's going to be profitable or not. So anyways, hopefully you guys found some value in this video, and I would love to hear if you have any additional steps that you guys take when you do your back testing. I don't do it so often, but if there's anything I can improve when I'm doing it, I'd love to hear it. But that's it for me. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.
Black Swan.